what are the effects of this incredible shift in human experience, which is to spend so much of our waking hours looking at a screen, be it an iPad or a smartphone or a computer screen? And this is something that's radically different. And there is lots of research that's being done, and it may not be the screen time by itself, but the content that one is exposed to. That's one thing. What are the content that's being curated by algorithms that more and more reinforce, for example, our biases in what we watch, be it on TikTok or YouTube, etc., or Netflix or whatever? That's a little bit scary, because it means that maybe are we getting more and more tunneled into only a small portion of what's actually out there? That's one concern. And it does seem currently that people really have a harder time placing their attention and sustaining their attention, and that people want more of this kind of, we say that like Netflix is the new crack, right? That it's squirting like dopamine out of us, right? And capturing our attention and our focus. And it is a concern. It is a concern that things have become so much shortened, than we expect. We expect to be, our minds to be driven and propelled from moment to moment with faster screens and faster storylines, etc. On the flip side, both for children and adults, do we have access to incredible sources of information in a moment about the history, about chemistry, etc.? Yes, we do, which is an incredibly powerful resource, an amazing moment in history. So a lot of it has to do with self-regulation, inhibitory control, and modeling. And do we model behaviors, be it online or offline, as parents for our children, or even for adults for other adults? How are we modeling that? How do we invite people to turn away from the screen and reflect with us in real time about what they're experiencing? It may be, and hopefully, just as screens are more recent development in technology, clearly there's going to be other developments in technology, and maybe, say, 10 years from now, people will not be looking at a small little handheld device. They'll be actually interacting in space, which will be a completely different mode. So I do think that this is temporary. And I do think that just by the fact of technology, engineering, and science, there are going to be other modes of interacting and getting information, probably more verbal and moving things in space as opposed to on a physical screen. Some people, it will be a wonderful thing because maybe they lead a very isolated life. For other people, it might become a vast distraction and disconnection from the vitality and richness of life. It clearly can be used as a teaching tool, right? I can't go to Egypt, but maybe I can virtually enter Egypt. So a lot depends on how it's curated. But one of the concerns is clearly that we human beings have, just on a neurochemical basis, we are very powerfully driven towards things that we think are going to give me a reward, right? The dopaminergic pathway to the nucleus accumbens. And we also are not fully developed in inhibitory control, which is necessary for being able to stop or pause. So there is a concern there because the forces are often to try to control attention, right? It's an attention economy at the moment. But I'm hoping that technology shifts so that people might begin to see the world more rather than just a screen of a few inches. And that should happen. That should happen. Because even if you think about it, all these screens are rather costly. If you can do something that projects into the world, whether it's virtual or overlay, just on a physical level, the head comes back up, right? We're living now in the decade of the head bobbing down, which is really weird. So I'm hopeful that technology will change things. And this might go along with actually the climate revolution, as it's occurring, that we need to reshift to actually paying attention to our ecology, our climate, our forests, the sky. And one of the questions is, if you think about organizations, how do they foster well-being in others, right? Is it more screen time, or is it more activities that help us get away from screens? And that's a very important decision that has to be made. And our attention seems to have dissipated. And there's no quick fix for that, right? Attentional focus is like a muscle. You have to keep feeding it, training it day after day.